Good evening. Garage video tonight, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've done any work on the car. So I'm gonna nick the nose cone off. There's just something I need to adjust on the transponder in the front, and I'm also going to change something in the engine bay. So I'm gonna whip the body panels off now, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Like magic, the body panels are off. It's funny how much care I now take over the nose cone and the bonnet now that it's got a wrap on it. So the thing I want to twist around is something that was recommended to me like right at the start of the build, and I just kept forgetting to do it. So that down there is a transponder, which I guess is used for the racing, for the timing, and the wire for it connects in at the bottom, and apparently it's just a little bit fragile for going into gravel traps and stuff. So I am going to just take out the two little bolts you can see either side, flip it 180 and then bolt it back on. Easy. Yeah, just nipping this back up. It's a 8mm bolts, not 10 I think I said, but yeah, 8. There we go. Interestingly, well, it's not that interesting really. If I can, sorry, there's a little pin in it. It's like there's a pin that needs pulling at some point, so I should probably read the manual for this thing. See if I have to do anything. On to the next job. So next job up around here, the brake fluid reservoir. You can actually see some evidence down here. Look, this thing somehow, for some reason, isn't brake fluid tight when it gets hot. I mean, I'm fairly sure it has only got one job to do, which is to keep brake fluid in here, and it doesn't do it. So there's a few things you can do. You can get those old, remember those socks that everybody had on their first Honda Civic, the little spoon sock things. You can do that. Just clean it up every time. Or there's an AP part, which is like, obviously they can't fit this for the road cars because it doesn't have any place for the sensor, for the fluid level sensor. But this is apparently fluid type, so I'm just going to swap it out with this, tie the wiring out of way for the sensor, and that'll be jobbed. These have been out of stock since I built the car. It was on my list, of things I needed to buy extra from Caterham, and I set up a alert thing on the website, and it just pinged the other day, and I ordered it like 30 seconds after the email came in. So yeah, it's nice to get that one ticked off as well. There you go, caps on, clean the mess up. So yeah, hopefully that does its duty. Just clips the wires out the way there with the inertia valve cut off. Just a few jobs I still need to do around here. I still need to fireproof that. Just some aluminium tape and stuff on there, just to make that pass scrutineering. And I'm going to do a fluid change soon. I think I'm going to give it one more track day. I'm at Blighton Park this coming Saturday. I probably won't do a video on that. Maybe just upload a few clips of some laps, hopefully. But it's just my local track. I try and go there at least once a year to shake down whatever mods I've done on whatever car it is that winter. So figured it'd be rude not to do that in the Caterham, and I'm just really struggling for seat time at the minute. The track day calendar just isn't cooperating with mine. I think I took for granted that winter track days would just be readily available. Like you can click your fingers and decide I'm going to go to Donington this weekend, or I'm going to go to Alton this weekend, or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't work like that at this time of year. So I'm going to get to Blighton, just get some time in. But it is March now. We're into March as I'm recording this. Just flicked over into March, and things start getting very busy on the Caterham front. Lots of track days coming up, which is exciting. I'm looking forward to getting into it. Anyway, what's next? Good evening, back again a day or so later. Just a quick interlude on the the kind of pre-track day tinkering that I'm doing at the minute, just to show you a new toy I bought. I bought myself a 3D printer. I didn't really have a specific need for the 3D printer on the Caterham, but I've wanted one for absolutely ages. Loads of little jobs on the Lotus and stuff like that over the years. I would have loved to have had a 3D printer, and I could never quite justify one. And I still can't justify one. It's complete folly. But I've been working on a little project with it. Nothing that's unique or you can't buy in the shops. But a few videos back, I was talking about wing mirror mounts, and I bought these things off Amazon, and I was trying to modify them with riv nuts and stuff. And I thought that would be a nice little project for me to just work on and just get my head around the various CAD applications and the different filament materials and stuff. So just a couple of like early prototypes, just things I was playing with to mount the wing mirrors to the car. These were the most successful prototypes of each kind of phase. This is the sort of graveyard of the stuff that, stuff of nightmares that comes out. And we're currently working on what could be the versions that go on the car for my next track day, if they come out okay. I'm still working on it. I'm having various success rates depending on the type of filament that I use, but that seems to be going okay. And I do actually have one, an earlier prototype, mounted to the car right now, just to kind of show the design that I'm going for. So yeah, you can see here it's just in two halves, with some M5 bolts going through, and then recessed hex nuts in there, and then the M5 connection just goes through to another recessed nut inside there. Really sturdy. How it'll stand up to somebody walking past it and banging it with their hip or whatever, honestly not sure. But it seems to do the job, so who knows, maybe this will be a nice little successful mini project. Anyway, I've got a couple more jobs to do on the car tonight, so while the printer's whirring away on the next versions, I'll get on with that. Check back soon. Okay, another quick little tweak on the car. So I've had the pedal box cover off again, and I don't know if you can see in there, but I've added a little bit of grip tape to the clutch and the brake, just to replace the rubber caps that came off. And while I was at it, I got a bit carried away with the grip tape, but kind of used that as a climbing frame to get in the car, so I did that. One up here, occasionally end up with a foot up here, so all grip taped out now, I think. So I'm going to get this pedal box cover back on. I think bonnet back on now. I think we're done. Okay, so next job on the list was to get it back on my scales. Not to do any adjustments or anything, because CTS have kind of given me a ballpark setup. What I want to do is see how close I am to the weight limit, the minimum weight that I need to meet at the end of the race, which is 630 kilograms. So car, enough fuel for scrutineering, which I think is 1 litre, whatever bodywork I may or may not still have with me, and myself. So I've just sat in the car with an approximate view of the race gear I don't have all my race gear yet, but there'll be a few grams in that either way, I should think. But the problem is with doing this test here is I do have almost a full tank of fuel in, which obviously I won't be finishing a race with. I'll be finishing the race as close to empty as possible, leaving the scrutineering amount, which I think is 1 litre. So I've done a bit of maths based on how big I think the fuel tank is and how much fuel weighs and blah, blah, blah. And I think I'm about 8 kilos over, which is a good thing. I mean, it'd be better if it was, bang on or whatever. But that's not a million miles off the margin I'm going to be aiming for anyway. I'm going to want a safety margin. I'm going to want to leave enough fuel in it to be sure. What I'd prefer, though, is if I was slightly under the weight limit, so then I could make sure I'm just overfueled, because that just, it's always better to be overfueled, I guess. But I think the regulations allow me to remove the passenger seat, and they're not the heaviest thing in the world, but that, with the rails and everything, there's got to be 2 or 3 kilos in that, if not more. So that might get me really close to the money. So one of the things I'm going to do, if I don't get carried away just doing laps and stuff at this track day at the weekend, is at lunchtime I'm going to drain the tank, measure it absolutely empty. Not enough fuel to even start the car. That's my worst case scenario. See where I'm at. If I'm still over the limit, at that point I'll take the passenger seat out, and if that gets me there or thereabouts, I'll be pretty happy with that. Then all I need to do really is work out how much fuel a session or a race will consume, which is about 10 litres. I think on average these things do half a litre a minute, and the races are 20 minutes, so 10 litres is the general amount that everybody will be running, maybe a little bit over. So actually a little bit of it's getting close now, these little details. It's pretty cool to be getting into these little details, to be honest. So I'm going to get it off the scales now, get those packed up. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago. I fixed the issue with my scales. I think I mentioned on one of the early videos that when I stood on each of the scale pads, they were each giving me different readings. So I had to take the control unit apart and figure out what the innards were. And there were these little Arduino things which I was able to track down on the internet and find a very badly written instruction manual for them, but just with the steps for recalibrating them. Got them recalibrated and they're all reading dead on now. So that's good. I know that the accuracy is there or thereabouts. So yeah, I'll get it off the scales now. Probably call it a video at this point. I don't think I had anything left on my job list for this track day. So next video will probably be some laps around Blighton Park.